Hey guys, Gerard here. Today we're going to be talking about another tech tool to use in our distance learning. The one we're using today is called Nearpod, and in many ways it functions very similarly to Pear Deck, but it has a little more functionality in some regards. I think it might be a little easier for students to use, although it's a little more complicated on the teacher end of things. So this is also an add-on in Google Slides, and it functions in many of the same ways as Pear Deck does. There are some advantages to it over Pear Deck, I think, especially for math and science teachers, and as far as the amount of tools it can integrate into your presentation. So I'm going to show you one I have created and let you take a look around. So this is a presentation I made recently. So I'm going to click on it to open it up just in Google Slides like I would on a normal Google Slides presentation. And I'm going to go to my add-ons and I'm going to hit open Nearpod add-on. Now, if I didn't have it, I'd just hit get add-ons, right? I would search for Nearpod, and then I would hit add that to my Google Slides, okay? So I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to hit open Nearpod, and it's going to pop up on the right here, just like with my Pear Deck add-on. And so since this lesson is already actively being used, I'm going to use a different one as an example. So if I were to use it on, let's just go to this one here. This is the one I did a couple days ago. So if I were to use this and I wanted to use it with Nearpod, right, I could use it to create presentation questions. So I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to go to Nearpod. I'm going to open, let me do that again. Nearpod, open Nearpod. Okay, so it'll pop up over on the right here, just like Pear Deck would. So you can see they have many different options here to input different things: audio, video, collaborate, draw it, Flipgrids, matching, memory tests, right? Whatever you want to do. They have it. They have all of it pretty much. So the main options I use are, if I want to add a question, say as a bell ringer, I could go and add a poll question. And I could just do something simple like, have you heard of the Harlem Renaissance before? Right, just to gauge prior knowledge. So I just put yes and no. And then when I'm done, I hit save. And it's going to populate right into my Google slide presentation. Okay. Now, say after that, one of the things we're talking about in here is If We Must Die by Claude McKay. Now, you can see in this presentation, I've integrated that video right into the slide here. But if I wanted to have it on its own, I could use this Nearpod application, right? So it would be a little easier for students to use. And I could just search for that video if I want on YouTube, and there it is. I just click on it and can click on the video, and I can scroll down and just hit save, and it'll create a slide to play the video on. Okay, and that'll be integrated right into my presentation also. It might be, yep, so there it is, and I can move that wherever I want. If I want it up here, I can move it there, just like any other Google slide. They have lots of different options here. So you can add a web page using the web content link. Time to Climb is like a memory matching game. You can do pictures on a slideshow, a sway in Microsoft. You can add quiz questions, which is another one I use a lot. So if you open this up, you can create a quiz question or multiple quiz questions. Then you just hit save, and it'll insert it so the students will have to pause at a certain point and answer those quiz questions. Open-ended questions, like if you want a written response, a PDF viewer. So lots of times I'll use this to add documents, like for DBQ questions, if I want to do something for like the Stanford History Education Group, or if I have a PDF from or a Google Doc file from New Visions that I want to insert into here, I can use that. That way students can kind of open it in a new tab and go back and forth if they want. It makes it easier for them. It's for math and science. There's some cool applications here. You have the simulation one, right, which has a lot of these different tools you can use, and they filter by grade level, right, for different math and science simulations. And if I wanted to put one of these in, I just click on it and hit done. It would insert right into my presentation. Okay, so as far as those tools go, though, you can kind of play around with those on your own and see what there is out there. They have a field trip one, which is pretty cool. They have a lot of free VR experiences, so if you're learning about ancient Egypt and you wanted to put that in here, you could just search for it. And when it opens up, there is one. Right, we could look at the pyramids of Egypt, right? And we click on that, hit done, and it would insert that slide right into our presentation. And then when students get there, they'd be able to look around in like a Google Earth type experience where they have a virtual view of that area. They also have Flipgrid, right? Matching games, a few other things here, but you can play around with that as you wish. Now, when you're done and you've added everything to your Nearpod that you'd like to, your questions, your VR, your videos, whatever you'd like to do, you would just hit save and go to Nearpod, and it'll open this up in your Nearpod browser. Now, when you added the extension, it will have made you create an account. So that's how you'll have an account here. You would want to sign in through your school email. It'll give you this silver user, right? When you first sign up, you'll get this free gold trial, which just has some extra features to it. Okay, but the silver one is fine. It just doesn't include as much unpaid material. All right, so then it'll take a minute probably to save here. But what you want to do is when it's done saving, you'll hover over it with your mouse and you'll have the option to do a live lesson or student paced. Okay, and what you want to do obviously is student paced since the students aren't in school. So we're not going to see them face to face. You do student paced, and then you just hit share through Google Classroom here, and it'll open up the link to share straight into your Google Classroom. Okay, don't worry about the class code. If it's shared through Google Classroom, they won't need that. All right. The other option here is if you're done and you just want to see what it looks like, you can hit preview, and it'll open up in a preview slide for you, and you'll get an idea of what this would look like to the students when they click through it. So you can see, right, like the poll question, it opens up like this, and you'll be able to select yes or no, and then move on. Okay. And like the video one, it opens up in full screen. All right, you can see that's the simulation I added. It might sometimes take a minute to load, but they have some different options here. So you can just see how these work, right? These different functions. Okay. The VR experience, right? This is one of the cooler ones, I think, where you can kind of look around in these. And then, all right, so that's how that works. Pretty simple, but it gives you a little preview there. All right, so then again, you'd click student paste, you'd share that through Google Classroom. Once your students have the link, they open it up and they can look at this just like you were just doing in preview mode. Okay, so when you're done there, if you want to take a look, you'd hit the home button to go back to your library. You could see your different presentations you have going there. And in order to see what students answered or didn't answer on one, you'd want to navigate over here on the sidebar to where it says reports. And you can see a report for different ones you've done in the past. So I could take a look at this one we did back over the school year, right? And if I want to look at it, I can just hit on the session there. And it gives me it would give me all of the questions and all the answers to the questions that students completed. So let me take a look at a different one. But here we go, right? So when I click on each question, it tells me what student said what, and like breaks down the answers in charts. For the open-ended questions, it has the student answer, and it'll have the student names, right? Okay. And you can see for every single question what each student answered. All right, so you can obviously use that report to assign a grade or to give feedback, whatever you'd like to do. When you're done there, Go back home again, right? On this home tab is where all of the presentations you've made are stored. But also, Nearpod has its own lesson library. So if you click here, that'll open up its own library, which has pre-made content lessons. Now, a lot of these you have to pay for. They do have some free ones. So if you filter by free and your content area, right, you can see different Nearpod lessons. These are already made up with questions in them about different topics. They have a lot of really good ones in here for ELA, social studies, math, science. And to share these, you just click right on them and you can hit add to my library. And then once it's added to your library, you go back to your library and you can launch them just like you launch a presentation you made. Okay? So hopefully that explains Nearpod pretty well. As you can see, it functions a lot like Pear Deck, same setup, right? That question answer format. There is more opportunity here to add more interactives, I believe, and more opportunity to have students kind of collaborate with each other with some of the different tools you could insert into slides. Okay, so you can sign up for your free account by going to the add-on in Google Slides, or you can go to nearpod.com to create your account. Either way, though, it'll get you up and running, and you'll be able to create lessons and send them out to students. All right, if you have any questions about any of that, please let me know. You can shoot me an email about the video or just any other comment or question you have. Have a good day, everyone.